I am the co-founder of A&J Partners. We are a strategic marketing, branding, and sales organization. We mainly, here we go. We mainly focus on optimization of people and budgets. So I want to switch some of the conversation from the actual brands we're working with back into the people that actually are pushing all of this, all the brands. We do other things, marketing and branding and all of that. Your people really are the most important and expensive asset that we have in the business. I know we all think it's our products, and to some degree it is. But we have a complicated path to purchase and a complicated path to market. So when we're hiring and developing our teams, we need to take care with that and spend extra time. And I think in alcohol beverage, we haven't been doing that as well as we can be. So let's dig into some of the processes that aren't accounted for when we're hiring and developing teams. And let's look at what those costs are. I'm skipping some of this so we can skip forward. Okay, it's not all doom and gloom, but I think this is the doom and gloom slide. Sorry about that. So annual turnover in our industry for hourly employees is 50%, which is enormous. There's only a fraction of employees that are onboarded into our businesses that think we do a good job of the onboarding process and the training process. Replacement costs for employees are enormous, and there's no tracking system for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So when you hire a full-time employee, you can roughly guess that if you turn that person over, it's going to cost you at least another 50 to 200% more than what you hired them at. So you're losing lost productivity, you're losing time hiring and training and developing. The good news out of this is organizations that do have a standard onboarding practice experience about 50% increase in productivity. So it's a very easy way for us to change the narrative with our teams in our industry. New hires, as everybody knows, typically perform a fraction of their capacity in the first month or two. It takes about 6 to 9 months for, complicated path to market, especially if people are coming from outside of our industry. Trying to understand this complicated 3-tier system is hard. So we also have a little bit of a failure of career growth in our industry. So succession planning is difficult if we have family-owned companies. And trying to leapfrog into executive level positions can be tough. So the net is turnover is expensive. I'm an optimizer, so I like to look and see where we can find hidden dollars that we're losing. This is one of them. So I think the first thing that we could do is address and make an attrition tracking system. I come from a long history of running retail stores on the East and West Coast. So I ran teams. I was a training manager for a long time. I also ran the media team at Wine Enthusiast magazine for about 2 decades. So I'm used to running teams. We had an attrition model where we would actually track those turnovers, which I highly would recommend if you have even if you have small teams, I would highly recommend you put those in place so you can actually see how much money you're losing in productivity and in salary and in time against this turnover that we have in our industry. Okay, so what are the solves besides the tracking system for attrition? So I'm not going to go through this like line by line, but you get the gist. We need to start from the very beginning before we even start hiring any teams in alcohol beverage. We need to assign clear roles. We need to assign clear job descriptions. We need expectations for each role, and we need a goal. What does success look like for the people that we're hiring and onboarding into our businesses? So I'm a contractor. I'm not an agency, so I do kind of project work right now. I've been on a long-term contract with Gallo, but I've worked on other businesses as well. I create scopes of work which are extremely detailed. And I actually take that on myself now because I've had so many companies that don't know how to create a scope of work, believe it or not. And that is, outlining exact line items that we're working on, the teams that are involved, the time frames, like really drilling down on everything that is involved with that work that we're going to be doing. Create a structured interview process. I've heard, the one interview process. I've heard the 27 million interview process. We need structure in our organizations for bringing people in. The more you create that structure, the more that candidate is going to be aligned with your vision of your goals of your company. For contractors like myself, we do then, from the scope of work, we do a detailed proposal that basically outlines in more detail than the scope of work what that work is going to look like for your brands, for your people, or whatever the goals are. We interview a variety of candidates and contractors. We get lots of RFPs out there. We get all of those proposals back. We weigh them against each other. We do the same thing with onboarding new candidates or hiring new candidates. You need multiple people. So, okay, this is the happy slide. How do we do it once we've hired people? What do we do to optimize the people so they can optimize the brands and they can optimize the business? Reporting structure. I've seen it. I don't care how big your company is. I've seen terrible reporting structures. We need to clean this up. We need a templated space and track for people to onboard and see a path to their future with the company. That includes the comprehensive onboarding plan. Now, when I started in alcohol beverage, there was no onboarding plan. There was no training. There was literally nothing. And so it was a little bit sink or swim. And I'm sure we've all seen that in companies over the years. So we need to create more formal training programs. We need regular check-ins with people that are going through those training programs. And we need to come back with feedback loops so we can train everybody up to where we're missing. I personally think training should be ongoing for a full year. Any new person, and I don't care how long they've been in the industry, you have a different culture than another company does. And getting them interested, getting them into that culture and training them up will only help your company, help them reach their goals, and put your energy back into your people who are actually running your brands. It's an investment. I mean, this is a big investment too. There's a lot of money that is going into hiring and training teams. So establishing a clear path of growth and development. I think this is probably my biggest one, is that I'm not seeing clear paths of promotional opportunities for teams. It truncates somewhere, and then we kind of lose the plot on what we're doing with certain people. And this is with any company, big or small. I think we need to have that even before we do the interview process, even before we're doing our training and development. And then continuing to reflect on the original goal of what that job, what that position is doing for your company. I think we need to think bigger here. Oh, okay, one more thing. I don't know how many people are not in charge of hiring and training, but I will say this. If you are somebody who has been onboarded and you're in your role and you're doing your job and you feel like you need more training, I would challenge you to manage up here. I mean, I know this is not the best solve we want, but manage up. I came into alcohol beverage. I didn't have any training. I went to all my direct reports and I basically said, I want to learn how to do harvest. I want to meet with the distillers. I want to go to all the tastings. I want you to send me here, there, and everywhere. And I think surprisingly, our industry is very welcoming to that. Everybody wants to help everybody in this industry. We love this industry. So I think creating that as an employee, I challenge you to really train and manage up in that. So I'll leave it on the think bigger. This is the aspirational piece of this. I think we need to think bigger. Once you've got these templates, if you already have a hiring systematic approach and onboarding and training, great. Refine it. Take it up a notch. The structure in the long run is going to help you save your dollars because it prevents attrition. It helps your people get advanced. This is what this industry needs. It needs more executive level people that are really looking bigger and better and want to move the industry in a different way. Setting goals to keep your on those positions keeps your eye on growth of the employee. It keeps your eye on growth of the company. And most importantly, your profitability. This all affects your bottom line. I really believe that the people are kind of the crux of this. I mean, I see it here in, we love being with each other. And if we can put our arms around our employees, our people, and continue to train them, I mean, it's what the tech industry does. They're all taking classes, and it's amazing if you look at other industries, what they're doing to put more information into the heads of their people. And I think if we do that collectively, I don't care if you're one brand or if you're a Diageo or a Gallo or anything, or an investment company or what have you, when you invest in your people, they take your brand, they keep it safe, they do the right thing for your path to purchase. So here's my words of wisdom. I'm gonna leave it on a nice note. I would really like for us to change our hiring. We're hiring people to we're making an investment in company growth and the people in this industry. That's really what we're doing. So I think we need to change some of the terminology around that. And I follow a lot of people and listen to a lot of blogs on leadership. And I really like Richard Branson because he really only focuses on his people. And he's trained people well enough so they can leave and treat them well enough so they don't want to. This is me. Thank you all.